What's going on, world? I am Rajid, joined by Don, and we want to welcome you back to the Talk and Play podcast, a podcast where we talk about games, world events, and other topics that interest us, while you get to watch clips, highlights, and some of our favorite games. Wherever you may be right now, we hope you enjoyed the show.
Flawless. Absolutely flawless.
I can see why he replaced me now.
When you hear open air, monster, and rockstar, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Caffeine, anxiety attacks, and a lot of sugar.
You just described a rock metal concert.
No, I think you did.
No, you said a lot of caffeine,
Yep,
anxiety,
yep,
and what'd you say?
a lot of sugar.
Yeah, that's a rock concert, man.
I mean, you're forgetting the hard liquor, but yeah, that too, I guess.
That goes without saying. I mean, man. Oh, all right. So I'm excited about this episode. I really am. Because episode 10, we're going to be talking about music, bands, artists, our music tastes, concert experiences, and also a big lingering question I have for you. So first thing I want to start off with is we have bonded a lot over our music. We share a lot of similar music tastes. I feel like you've picked up on a lot of things I like that I've shown you.
Yep.
And I feel like you've shown me some good things that I'm excited to talk about in general. Just so first things first is our music tastes then to now. Obviously, people change, tastes change, whether it be music, food, everything changes.
Absolutely.
So when you think about if I asked you to look back at younger Rajid, what were some, and it could be younger Rajid from 7 years old or a younger Rajid from the teenage year, what kind of music did you listen to? Like, what were some bands or artists that you enjoyed?
So this is going to be a bit of a journey. So when I was younger, my family actually didn't listen to a whole lot of music, or at least not any of the stuff that we would hear on the radio. 90% of the stuff that I listened to when I was basically up until middle school was Arabic music. And it was literally anything that my mom or my dad had. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Was literally anything that was on my mom and dad's tape deck. So we had a whole bunch of like Nancy Ajram and Feiruz and a couple of other artists that I really don't remember. All I know is that Feiruz was like my mom's favorite. So anytime we were riding in the car with her, we were listening to that. Once we got into maybe middle school, it was basically anything on the radio and like mostly Sean Paul or Shakira or yeah, basically any of the more common pop music. Once I got into high school and I met you, well, let's just say my world changed.
You are welcome. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll get into that in just a second, but I'm very okay. So I'm not in the same boat in the sense of like, I didn't listen to Arabic music due to the fact that I'm not Arabic, or that I'm not Arab, and so therefore, no, that was not in my that was not in my tape deck.
I would be genuinely surprised if it was.
Right, but it is on my Spotify now because of you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. But growing up, I remember being 7 years old. All right, second grade. I was listening to Linkin Park.
Yep.
I still do. I mean, I still love Linkin Park. I'll still put them on from time to time, but Linkin Park was like, I knew it's funny because like I don't listen to them as much as I used to back then because I had their first two albums, Hybrid Theory and Meteora, which both of those albums phenomenal. But like it's funny because I remember how every song, like the transitions between every song. I remember from Hybrid Theory, you went from Paper Cut to One Step Closer. And even
Oh,
when I
it
listen to it,
merges into each other.
it just seamless. And I listened to that. Like I was listening to it on my way from work today, and I was cracking up because I was like, man, Little Don really, really ingrained this in my brain because now when I listen to it, the moment a song ends, I know exactly what the next beat is, and what the next words are. And so Linkin Park was like my one of my first bands.
Yep.
And then my brother introduced me because of his friend William. My brother introduced me to Iced Earth, which is kind of like one of the bands that you listen to. That you used to listen to that I see on your list here. And so we'll get to that one. But then with my parents driving with them, yes, I did have the Sean Paul and the Shakira's. Oh, Shakira actually. This is
Shakira.
oh man, you know. But
Fun
fun.
fact: she is half Lebanese.
Yeah, she's half Lebanese and half Colombian.
Yep.
Yeah, no wonder her hips don't lie. But fun fact, another fun fact about Shakira. Shakira was actually my first concert I ever went to.
Would you believe me if I said I still have never been to a concert?
We'll talk about it. But I do believe it. I do believe it. Just because I know your family and I know how everything is. But that's another topic we're going to be talking about very shortly. Had to clear my throat there. Then but with my parents, I listened to a lot of 80s and 90s. So like Michael Jackson
Oh yeah.
and oh man, Bon Jovi,
Guns
just
N'
any
Roses.
Guns. I wasn't too much Guns N' Roses. Something that
Ah.
discovered later. Yeah, my parents weren't super big into like rock, but like they love Bon Jovi, they love Prince, they love Michael Jackson. So those are the bands that I grew up with, and then Metallica because of that, and because of Iced Earth, my brother. That's where we started listening to Metallica, and I was like, I think the first song I still remember loving and singing along to was uh,
Master of
Fuel.
Puppets.
No, Fuel was my first song that I ever listened to Master by Metallica.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give
Give me
me that
five.
which I desire.
Yeah, that's. And then weirdly enough, you got Michael Jackson, Prince, 80s, 90s, Ice Earth, like, and in there, Eminem.
If I can throw a quick pause on that really quick. So when you mentioned Metallica, for one, that was the first time I ever heard metal or rock, and that was actually from you. And the second item is back when I was working in a data center, we would have to do like every shift, somebody would have to walk around the data center and make sure nothing's on fire, make sure everything is working, and making sure the generators haven't blown up or anything like that. So
Right.
I would time my music to like a small playlist of a couple of Metallica songs that would finish. I would start as soon as I walk out of the office space, and it would finish as soon as I get to the door back by the office space.
That
So,
is so you just had like your own little music video going.
mhm.
That's cool. Like your own little montage.
And if if my coworkers were watching the security cameras, they would see me like walking and rocking out as I was checking through the what do you call it? Checking through the server cages.
Just the head bob, man. That's
Mhm.
all anyone ever needs to see is if you're listening, like it's funny because you can't see me, but you know what I mean when I say, and Matt, Matt being here, he knows this one too. You know when someone's listening to rap or hip hop versus when someone's listening to like rock or metal because of the head bob that do the head nodding that they do.
I've seen
Like
you go spaz mode in your car. Like you didn't know, but there was one time I was driving home coming back from work and I noticed your car coming up, so I slowed down. You didn't notice me, but you kept driving by and you were going so hard. You were bouncing up and down and the whole car was like shaking, man. I was like, dude, he's listening to some good music right now.
Yeah, Don's given my car suspension a good workout a few times.
I love music. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before in the podcast, but like I've been dancing since I was 4 years old. Like my mom taught me when I was 4 and when my brother was younger. Like we all learned to dance. So like rhythm and beats and just I love moving. Um But yeah, I still don't know what it was. It might have been Kesha. Bro. I might have been listening to Kesha.
Maybe.
No, it wasn't Kesha. It was definitely some rock. Um, but yeah, so then I'm looking at your list right now, previous bands, and some of your bands now, and your artists, and I see the one you just typed in. This one makes me so happy.
Celia Cruz.
Celia Cruz. Oh man. If for those of you who don't know who Celia Cruz is a
One of the most
salsa,
iconic singers and dancers.
cumbia singer dancer. Her beats were bar none. Matt, have you ever listened to Celia Cruz? By the way.
I have not. I have no idea who that is.
All right. So while like we record, you know, you're quiet in the background. I'm sending you a song. Like just listen to this beat, and then you can jump in later and just be like, "Oh my god, give me your reaction," because she her rhythm and her soul is so oh. And so yeah, Rajid, ended up loving her.
I will say her voice is not like the most soft spoken or the most, I will say, feminine, but it works so perfectly with the
Oh
music
yeah,
that she creates. It's
oh
fantastic.
for sure. Yes, she's her voice is not. I wouldn't say. I mean, she is an angel now, but her voice was not super angelic or very melodic. But her style of singing is just like you feel it, even if you don't speak the language, you still feel what she's saying. You're like, yes, sing it. And then you also read there Blind Guardian. Is that something you used to listen to back in the day, or is that something that you picked up because of my influence?
That was all your influence. I didn't actually start listening to metal or rock actually until I met you. I still remember back during our lunch period, you had those giant skull candy headphones that you would let me
Mm,
listen on every now and then.
Yo, those skull
mhm.
candies, dude.
Oh, you
Yes,
remember? You remember the big
yes.
black ones,
Yep. And
the
then,
super bulky
oh
ones.
man, I wanted those so bad. And then,
I tried mimicking you by bringing my own headphones. Then I became a laughing stock.
yeah, Don
Oh,
introduced me to rock, and then it took off from there, man. That's pretty much all I listened to.
but I
So,
mean, you used to
listeners,
listen to.
in case you're wondering, yes, Don has been a massive influence on both Matt and myself, and sometimes for the good, sometimes it's questionable.
I mean, it is what it is. But Matt, weren't you listening? Didn't you like listen to Breaking Benjamin before you met me?
Breaking Benjamin.
Oh
Uh,
yes, maybe I didn't
that was
really
more
listen to a
punk
lot of
rock than
music until I met you. But yeah, I had a couple songs from Breaking Benjamin, but then I started to listen to like all their albums, and I fell in love with their music, man. It spoke to me on a deeper level.
Their music is good. Their music is
there's
good.
actually one of Breaking Benjamin's songs is actually featured in Halo 2. I'm trying to remember which song it was.
Oh,
I
I
think
will
it was
not bow.
Producer,
I will not bow.
is it I Will Not Bow?
Yep,
I Will Not Bow. Yes.
I will not bow. I will not break.
definitely one of
Yeah,
my favorites.
I love that song. I have that song on my like hard rock metal playlist on Spotify. So when I'm listening, that comes up a lot. um, but yeah, so you got Explosions in the Sky, Sabaton, Tear. So yeah, I'm seeing a pattern here, man. Yes, and he's just typing in Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh man.
That's so Avenged Sevenfold was like the bands and stuff that I listed before, that was like going up to like up until sixth grade or so. And then once I got to in high school, that's where my hard rock phase really took off.
Hmm.
Like middle school is where I started enjoying Avenged Sevenfold, Corn,
Yep.
Disturbed.
I still listen to Disturbed.
I mean, I'm not saying I
Disturbed
don't
and
listen to them.
Device. Oh yeah.
I still listen. Yeah, Device, their one album. It was a good album. It's just
Wasn't correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Device literally just Disturbed with a whole new title? Or were they Were
It
they a new
was
hodgepodge of other artists?
it was a hodgepodge of other artists. So it was David Draymond, frontman of
Mhm.
Disturbed, with um a different instrument, like instrumentalist, so different guitarist, bassist, and drummer.
Right.
But yeah, so Device was his, and I believe the guitarist's brainchild, and then they went off and did that.
Hmm.
But yeah, Avenged Sevenfold, Korn, Disturbed. That's where I started listening to. That's when I definitely started listening to a lot more Metallica. And I mean, like I said, I still listen to that stuff now. I mean, that's like one of my those are my favorite things. And then we get
I
into
sometimes go back to an older song. Sometimes
oh
it
yeah,
still
I
gives you the
mean
same fun feeling.
exactly like with Avenged Sevenfold, my favorite one of my favorite songs that I always have the biggest memories with is Beast and the Harlot.
Hmm.
And that's because of Guitar Hero 2. That was a song on there, and that was like one of my very first exposures to Avenged Sevenfold in middle school. And from there, my world was it literally rocked my world. Pause for the groans.
Listen,
Doesn't
man,
even
I'm the one
deserve
that
a
makes the dad
pause.
jokes. Okay.
Get it? It rocked my world.
Yes, we get it. Move on.
It really developed some. It really helped me develop some metal.
Oh my god.
I'm proud of my jokes, as you can tell.
Matt,
Um,
can we just drop him off the recording, please?
Yeah, yeah. Let's just make the show you and me. All right.
You know what? Let's do it. John, you're fired.
well, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is my last show. Thank
You heard it live from Talk and Play Podcast.
you. So, yeah, like music and bands and artists that we listen to now. I mean, because of like all of us, I feel like we've all have grown into we've like combined all of our music. Like I liked Eminem growing up, but because of Matt, I listened to him more. And because of Matt's influence of Eminem, that led me to enjoy rap more. So when I learned of Tech Nine, who's one of my favorite
Hmm.
rappers,
Hmm.
then I reciprocated the Eminem, showed Matt and Rajid Tech Nine, and Matt now is always mind blown by what Tech Nine puts out. But then now, like when I got to high school, I know like Rajid, I know you're not super into them, but like I, got into really into and I'm still into Slipknot. I loved them in high school,
Yeah,
but
they didn't really feed my fancy if that's the right phrase to use.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's because they are either you have to find the right songs, or if you've looked through all their catalog, eventually you're just kind of all right, yeah, this is really isn't for me.
Yeah. Now, I
So
will say most of our interests aren't necessarily just these mainstream bands that a lot of people know or have heard of. A lot of times we also listen to, I guess, a little bit more obscure items. So if you've ever
mhm,
gone on like Pandora or Spotify or Google Music, if before it got shut down and turned into YouTube Music, um, you'll pick up random little songs every now and then, and it just makes you dive into further into these artists where, oh wow, I really like the song. Maybe this company had, or maybe this band has something more, or maybe this band has uh, something similar, or a better song than this. And from
yeah,
there, you just find so many different, I guess, so many different playlists that you end up creating out of that.
Yeah,
mhm,
I texted Don like a week or two ago because a song came up on my Apple, just a playlist.
Mhm.
And before they even said any words, I was like, yo, I'm gonna like this song. And I even texted Don, I'm like, do you ever listen to something and just know it's gonna be good before they even start singing? And he's like, dude, all the time. And it was Our Last Night, the band, and I downloaded everything that they have, and I love it. All from the first couple seconds of a song that they have.
sometimes all that's sometimes all it takes. It's funny because Radell and I one time we were driving to pick up my brother from work, and we were listening to, I believe it was Pandora, and Avenged Sevenfold came out. Now I love Avenged Sevenfold, but it was funny because I'm driving, so I can't see the phone. I can't see what's coming up, right?
Mhm.
And so we're just like listening, and the way the song started, we were like for sure thinking we're like, this is gonna be some like really heavy, like it's gonna start super screaming, and it turned out to be Avenged Sevenfold's "I Won't See You Tonight," and it's one of like the most beautiful, like heart hitting ballads. I love that song. "I Won't See You Tonight." I think it's part one or two. One of those is a very soft, more calm tone to it, and we ended up loving it. So there's what Matt had where it the song just drags you in, and you're like, I'm somewhere just like that, where we were like judging it right off the bat, and then it turns out to be it turns out to be one of our favorite songs.
I think that's a very large testament to a band's skill. If they're known for their hard metal music, if they can also come up with a song or even a whole playlist of soft and more soft spoken music
Yeah,
and still make it sound amazing, they that's an automatic win for me.
yeah. That's actually why I love Slipknot, is because first off, Corey Taylor has great vocal range. His voice is amazing, but they have all these really hard songs, but then they're really good at they have some really good softer songs, and then his other band, Stone Sour, is just like, oh my god, they have, it's a whole different sound, and it's beautiful. It's yeah, I love Corey Taylor. He's one of my favorite singers, frontmen. Um, but yeah, I mean, my taste then, and then of course rewind back to like 2016, I believe, yeah, 2016 or so. Rewind back to 2016, and I was at Chicago Open Air, the first ever Chicago. And on Friday, it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show, and the Friday headliner was a band that I listen to religiously now, and that is Rarmstein. Now, I used to listen to Rammstein a lot. I did. I mean, but I knew like the big hits, like the ones that everyone knows. Du hast, um,
Kind of
ish.
lust.
Which one?
Kind of lust.
Kind of Lost wasn't one of those that I really knew. I knew Du hast. I knew
Ich will.
Ich will, yeah. And then oh man, now I gotta look at the list now because there's some on that list that I was like, oh my god, I know these songs I used to listen. Firefly,
Firefly. Yep.
Firefly. Ich will, du hast Sonne.
Sonne. Mind
And
Tail.
no, Mind Tile was not until after the concert, and then
Okay.
Angel.
God.
And I loved all those songs. And then seeing them live, they played so many good songs that, oh my god, they played one song. It's called Ich tu die weh, and Ich tu die weh is it's a song about it's a song about BDSM. I mean, there's no two ways about it. But listening to Till Lindemann, the singer, belt out the lyrics, it's like so melodic. Listening to it live, I was just like, I fell in love with this song, and I could not. It was not on Spotify for the longest time. Like that album was not found until like a year and a half later, and then finally now I have it on my playlist, and it's like there, and I love it.
Rammstein only had like 3 songs on Google Music, so they were very. I don't want to say they were very hard to find. You could obviously find it on YouTube anywhere, but for the main music, I guess
Platforms.
play apps, yeah, the main music platforms, they wouldn't have Rammstein on there. I don't know why, but they just wouldn't.
It's because they're considered very controversial um
Very
in
graphic.
Germany, and yeah, they're very graphic, very controversial. So Germany tried to block them a lot from having, so like it became a mess to try to get their albums out there. But after that concert in 2016, though, I just became obsessed. I have saved all their albums. I know most of their songs, popular and some not so popular. and their newest album that they dropped. I know that song, like I know I can sing the songs front to back. Like that's one of the bands that I feel bad that I didn't give them the attention when I was younger, but I'm glad that I'm listening to them now because they're amazing. They're so much fun.
Yeah, we're supposed to go see Rarmstein last year.
Yeah, and then this global
And COVID.
annoyance. Yeah. Um and so speaking of that, technically, supposedly, we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. Because we weren't able to see Rammstein last year, Matt Rajid and I, followed by two of our other friends, are supposed to see their postponed show next in September.
Yeah.
If this goes through, on a scale of 1 to 10, because this you said you've never been to a concert before.
Mm-hmm.
How excited are you to see your first concert? First off, to see your first concert, and second off, if it goes through, your first concert to be Rammstein.
I am terrified.
Don't be.
Just
I
want to
mean,
see all the pretty flames. That's all I want.
Matt is like a moth.
Oh yes.
drawn to the fire. I will say part of the reason that I'm actually terrified of it is what do you call it? Large crowds gives me anxiety. So if I am stuck in a place with a billion people around me and I don't know a single person there, I'm probably going to be a little scared.
Well, the nice thing is we're seated, so we will still be
Exactly.
around a lot of people, but we will be all together. The
Right.
second thing is, even though we are, we're not in the pits, which is that is a whole not like I was considering like wanting to get pit tickets, but first they're expensive as all high heaven, and second off,
Yep.
I'm like that is a terrible way to take you guys to your first concert.
Don just wants to
Yeah,
throw
that's what
hands
I
for
want
no
to do.
reason.
I no, I am not one of
Oh,
those people who sit there and flail their arms like trying to hit people. No, no, that's not what mosh pit's about. Embracing and hitting each other, but like pushing each other and just letting out that anger without getting violent. The people who start being violent and knocking people and making people bloody, go sit down. Like you don't deserve to be in the pit.
I can assure you I don't hate anybody.
Right. Well, um, but the only anxiety you'll get is what getting in and we're getting out because people are crowding and pushing and being I want to get in there first. Like you're gonna get in. Like calm yourself. um, but yeah, Rammstein is. I've seen them twice. They are a phenomenal show.
Yep.
So Matt, I mean, you're here for if you want to spit out for a second. How do you said you wanted pretty flames like on a scale of 1 to 10? Like how excited are you
Oh, I'm super
to?
excited because this will also be my first concert. So I don't really know what to expect. Like I've been to other things, like sporting events and all that, but this is going to be on a whole different level, especially for a band like this that's so hardcore. You know, I'm excited, man. I love when bands and stuff they put on a show. I obviously seen it on TV and stuff, so it'll be a whole new experience for me.
Right. I mean, yeah, and the cool thing is too is Rammstein. This is gonna be your guys' first one, and this is their first U.S. stadium tour. This is the first time they've actually gotten to use stadiums, so they have
Right.
more. What'd you say?
No, I was saying right. Like they're gonna have a lot more space. They're gonna have a lot more audio control. It's gonna be bonkers.
Yeah,
Please.
and so Rammstein was actually one of my best like concert experiences. I loved watching them. They were so much fun. They actually the like the second right before they went on the co-headliner was Chevelle. I love Chevelle. Chevelle's another great band. And they kept like hyping up Rammstein and being like, oh, all these people here, they seem scared. I wonder why. Maybe because Rammstein burned their eyebrows off. And, they're just like, they talked them up. And I mean, they weren't joking. The Rammstein uses, when you hear Rammstein uses fire, like they control the element. They are fire avatars, dude. Like,
Firebenders.
yeah, they're exactly. They're firebenders. They are. it's mind blowing. It's such a good show. But you guys are lucky. You guys, we're going to be seated. We're going to be comfortable, but you could be worse off because my first metal concert experience. I hate this story because my brothers always crack up at me and always laugh. It was my first ever metal concert, hard rock metal. I went to go see Chimera when they were starting up, Lacuna Coil when they were also getting started, like getting a little bit more famous. Killswitch Engage, which I love, and this was with Howard Jones, not Jesse. I don't mind Jesse, but Howard was like, that's my dude. And Disturbed. 4 phenomenal bands. Now, we got there early. We had a great spot. Guys, we were front row. So I saw Chimera front row, got pushed a lot because people lose it. Saw Lacuna Coil front row, Christina Scabia, lead singer, mwah, amazing singer. And then Killswitch comes out. We all love Killswitch. Now, at this concert, it was myself, my 2 brothers, their best friend Corey, their other best friend Vicky, and we are all together watching the show. And Killswitch Engage comes out, and they start going off, and they start playing their songs, and they're having an awesome show. It's starting to get darker out. And then this was my first ever metal show. These guys were about to sing the song Unbroken. And before they did that, they basically tell the crowd to open that. They say, split it down the middle. Okay. So we did. We split down the middle. We went off to our side. Now, because the way we were positioned, we were front row, but that also meant we were in front of this group. And so
I think I see where this is going.
So then as we're split up, all 5 of us are looking at what's going on. Like, we don't know what's happening at this moment. This is our first concert. And I was like, uh-oh, like, what's going on? And then I hear someone scream out. You hear people in the audience start screaming out, "Wall of Death! Wall of Death!"
Okay.
Anything with the word death in it is not a good thing.
Nope.
No.
Nope. No, it isn't. Run away.
So and we tried. We couldn't get out of the way because we were at the front of the pack. Now, we're at the front. The crowd is down the middle. We're looking at each other like 2 armies about to clash. And they were like, "On go, you guys are going to just, it's like, on go, we want you guys to mess this up." They didn't say this, obviously, but they said the other word, the sh. And so, they counted down. There wasn't even like a good countdown. Like, it was like the guitar you hear, and then you hear 1, 2, 3, go, and everyone just started charging towards each other. I and my brother locked arms, and he tried to hold me up. I tried to hold him up. We're doing fine until 3 jacks of all trade. I guess we can go with that. 3 guys,
Jerks.
3 jerks, yeah, 3 jerks jump on my back
Oh God.
and pull me down.
Why?
Because it was the wall of death. These guys must have been stoned out of their minds, probably. And so for my brother, I look like the scene from The Lion King when Mufasa gets taken down by the wildebeests. Like, I just got dragged under, and he just basically, and he just said all he saw was my hand fall into the crowd and then disappear.
Yeesh.
Finally, everything subsides. Things start getting calmer. I'm on the ground. I'm curled up, have my hands behind my neck to make sure I'm safe. And finally, some guy started yelling as loud as he could to back off, to give me room. There's someone down on the ground, and there were some people who were still moshing. This guy rallied a small group of people to then basically push and shove and beat anybody who was still being stupid around me so I can get up. These guys got me up. They got me to the medical tent. I got checked out. I was fine. We lost our front row seat, but yeah,
You know what? You stayed alive.
I stayed alive in my first concert ever. Wall of Death. Now I know what that is. So anytime I went to a concert later in my life and I heard split it down the middle, I was like, yeah, we're going off. I was like, I know where
Never
this is
mind.
going. I was just like, yeah, excuse me, pardon me, not doing this. Nope, I'm okay. Go, go ahead, get in the front, man. That's fine. So I was just like, we're not playing this game. So yeah,
Okay.
right. I was like, yeah, I'm not playing. I'm not, wall of death roulette with my life. Yeah, so that was my first ever metal concert. That was terrifying.
So like I said, I've never been to a concert, but there was one time I actually won concert tickets. I think it was Dirk Bentley and I think Lady Antebellum. I think that's was. They're called Lady A now because something about the name Antebellum was very controversial. I don't know all the details, but anyway, I was a huge country fan back in like my early college stages, late high school, early college, and um, I didn't want to go to the concert because I was actually I don't know, I just wasn't a fan of them. I wasn't so interested that I wanted to go downtown to see them. So anyway, I give those tickets to another friend of mine, and she and one of her friends go for like they gave it to each other as a birthday gift or something. And the story that she told me is she was sitting in the seats that they were given, and lo and behold, in that seat, someone jumped up to start cheering and spilled a whole cup of beer on top of her.
Sounds about
So
right. Yeah.
yeah. So
I in that same in my same concert, I have something not on the same level, but there was this lady who was wasted. The
mhm.
bands hadn't even started yet. She was wasted. She must have pre-gamed. And she was like going through the crowd. She was finding an excuse to get to the front because she kept coming through super loud, going, "Has anyone seen my show? I
Yeah,
lost
dude.
my show."
I don't think she pre-gamed. I think she was in overtime.
Probably. Yeah, I think so, man. Because she was gone, and so she went through and she started like this is what she did. She was saying, "Has anyone seen my show?" And then stick her nasty bare foot through people to show the foot, and then she would step through to get
Mm.
closer. So she kept trying to do that, and when she got to us, she tried to do it, and then we just like formed a Secret Service pack. Like we just like got really close in and just did not let her through. And she kept trying to like get us to get her to, my show, my whatever. Luckily, we had this big, tall dude behind us. I forgot his name, but this man was awesome. He was so I'm 6 foot tall. This man must have been at least 6'5", 6'6", and
Mhm.
he was big. And this tiny, scrawny girl was being obnoxious, and he had enough. And people around us were getting annoyed. He picked her up with one arm, lifted her, and threw her onto the crowd. The crowd surfed her to the back.
That's awesome. So
I
I guess for her, the game was afoot. No? No?
yeah,
I
I got to
tried
do
too
my
hard on that one.
no. I got my. So my final question before we wrap this up is: we have lost so many amazing artists, especially through our lives. Like so many people. Like I can literally think the fact that we've lost like people like Bon Jovi. We've lost Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. We've lost Prince. We've lost, Michael Jackson. whether or not you
Agree whether or
supported
not he
him,
was
agree or disagree, he had some good music. He had some great music before
yes.
everything went south. Um, if you can go back in time to see any artist or any bands, who would they be? Like who would you go see?
Elvis.
Ooh, at this point, I think my grandma would be like kissing you and hugging you
I
right now.
feel like he put on a really good show. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Elvis was fun. Elvis was a lot of fun. Because of my grandma. Devil in Disguise is one of my favorite songs.
Matt, you actually cut out a good chunk if you want to
I heard
repeat
him.
yourself again. Okay.
I think we should be fine.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, Elvis Presley, rest in peace. Great. Yeah, I love that choice. I like it. I approve.
I think remind me, Stevie Wonder is still alive, isn't he?
I believe so. Producer, is
I don't
Stevie Wonder still alive?
I'm working on it as we speak.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's still alive. I haven't heard anything otherwise, but I would definitely want to go and see one of his concerts.
All right, all right. I like it. Yeah, Stevie Wonder's good.
Okay,
I think
yeah,
he's still
he's
alive.
still alive.
Okay, good.
Thank God.
Thank God we have a producer now. Um, yeah, if I could go back and see any artist or band, I'm torn because on one hand, I never got to see Linkin Park live, so I would like to go see them live.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, there's three oldies like in 80s and 90s that I would love to see, and that's Queen.
Oh yes, Queen, the
My
Beatles.
ooh, so Beatles not so much. I didn't
No,
Beatles. I like
they had
them,
a
but
couple of songs,
yeah. Well, for me it would be Queen because Freddie Mercury, yes,
of course.
right. My God, his vocal range. Oh. Michael Jackson. I mean, can you imagine going to see, like, I saw after he passed away, they Michael Jackson experience, like they showed him all the behind the scenes of like him getting his next tour before he died, like up and running.
Yep.
And it looked like it was gonna be such a good show. I was like, oh man, like at the time my mom was, we were starting to be better off at that point, and my mom was even willing for her and I to go see it. Like, and
Mhm.
then he died. And Prince. I saw him at the Super Bowl, which I mean was good, but just oh man, Prince was. And then obviously Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi was another good one that is gone. So many good artists. So many good artists.
We almost lost what's his name? Linderman from Rarmstein this past year.
Oh my God, yes. Oh, I was about to say David Bowie's another that I would want to go see. But yeah, dude, if we lost Till Lindemann, I would have been depressed for a while. Yeah, Matt. So remember, so after COVID struck and everything shut down and the concert got postponed, literally, or not even before the concert was postponed. It was like a month before the concert. There was news that Till was in the ER in Germany,
No.
and it's because he was having respiratory issues. And so the first thing they went to was, oh my God, Till got COVID, and he's in his 50s. And so people, it was like it's funny. It was literally one day freaking out, and then the next day he was just up and at. It's like day one, no, please don't die. Day two, cool, he's alive. But yeah, oh man, I love music. Music. I enjoyed this conversation. This was fun. I enjoyed the reminiscing. It makes
The
me happy to
nostalgia.
the nostalgia. Yeah, I enjoy hearing like I I'm not trying to sound like too. I'm not trying to toot my horn. It makes me like happy when you guys say things like I've influenced you. When it's for the better. When it's Rajit saying, yeah, you've made me a bigger a hole. It's like, yeah, you know,
That
yippee.
you did.
I taught you how to defend yourself from the wolves.
You are one of the wolves.
Ooh.
I mean, what better way to teach you how to defend against than to throw you in the ring with the wolf?
No better way to learn how to swim than being tossed into the pool.
Hey, speaking of the pool, remember when we were PE leaders?
Oh my god. Don't
Oh,
remind me.
I think that's gonna be another. I think it's gonna be like.
Good times, good times.
Oh man, great times. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about time to wrap things up. As always, we want to thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to having you next time when we talk about Lord knows what. We're still trying to figure it out. But if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you know exactly when we upload our next video. As
If you
for the
guys
three
happen
of
to
us,
know, sorry if I can interject.
yeah,
I'm
go
sorry, I
ahead.
keep
Man.
doing this.
I'm just doing an outro. But yeah, go.
I'm sorry, I keep doing this. If you guys have any obscure bands, or if you have any artists that you think that we don't know about, or you want us to listen to, leave a comment, let us know, and we'll check it out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, if there's any bands that you guys want us to check us out, if you want to answer the question, if you can go back in time and
Mhm.
see any artist in their prime, who would you go see? Anyways, I like that. Good job, Richie.
Thank you.
But for right now, the three of us, we are logging off. Until next time, keep gaming and stay safe, guys.